So we are making strawberry jam, and here is my son Lucas. He is mushing up the strawberries. We're going to need a total of 5 cups of mashed up strawberries. So we're just mashing them up with the potato masher, and this is what it's going to look like. Okay, we're going to sterilize the jars that we're going to use. I'm using just half-pint jars, but you can use any jar, any size that works for you. If you have a handy-dandy tongs, you can just use that to rotate the jar to make sure that it gets the boiling water on all sides. And I'm going to throw in my lids afterwards. Once my jars have been sterilized in here for, I leave them in here for 5 to 10 minutes, then I'm just putting them in my hot oven. It's kind of my old trick that my mom used to do. So I just have them on a tray in here under the hot heat so they'll stay all nice and clean. If you have a large saucepan, a larger, much wider one than this, you can fit more in, but I don't have that, so we're working with what we got. I'm just going to pour my mashed up strawberries that I already have measured out. It's very important to be really accurate. Make sure that you have exactly the amount that's called for in the recipe. This recipe calls for 5 cups. So you mash it up and then you measure it out. If you have any left over, I just gave it to my kids and they just ate it right out of the bowl, but you could, add it to yogurt or ice cream or anything that you wanted, okay? You're going to add in the pectin, straight from the pack. Just put in the whole pack. And then when you make homemade jam, it tends to foam up quite a bit. So you just add a little butter, like about half a teaspoon or so. It's like a little knob of butter. Just throw that in with it, and that will help to prevent some of the foaming. It just doesn't look as pretty. There's nothing wrong with the foam, it just doesn't look as pretty. And then you're going to turn it on and you're going to bring it to a boil, and we're going to let it come to a boil, and I just stir constantly while it's doing that. Okay, you bring the mashed up strawberries up to a full boil, so you want it to boil so that even when you're stirring, it's still continuing to bubble. So do you want to bring the thing closer so they can see? Okay. So I'm actually going to let that boil for another couple of, so maybe give that another 30 seconds. Okay, let it boil, and then we are going to add the sugar. We have 7 cups of sugar right here in my hand. Right here. I have 7 cups of sugar already measured out, and what we're going to do is we're going to add that to the strawberries, and then we're going to bring it back up to a boil for exactly 1 minute. Okay? So here we go. You just want to pour it in a stream like that and mix it in. Carefully. Like I said, just going to keep stirring, and we'll bring it back up to a boil, and then we're going to let it boil for 1 minute exactly when we bring it back. Okay? Alright, so we're boiling. It's just starting to boil. So we're going to let it again come to a boil where even it's boiling when I'm stirring it, like you can see. And then what we're going to do is we're going to set the timer for 1 minute, and we're going to boil it for exactly 1 minute, and then we're going to take it off the heat, and then we are done with jam making. At that point we're going to pour it into our jars and go ahead and seal them up. So alright, we'll check back in a little bit. Sometimes even when you add the butter, you're going to see a little bit of foaming on the top. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with the foaming, it just doesn't look as pretty in the jam jar. So I'm just going to peel that off, and then it's perfectly fine to eat. I just leave it in this little bowl here. You can cover it, put it in the fridge, and your kids can have that. And when you give your jam jars away as gifts to people, they won't have all this. It'll look like doesn't have any of this little imperfections in it. And voila, something for the kids. Okay, I'm kind of messy, so that's why I have all of my jars in a little tray here. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to pour the jam in. I'll do one towards the front the next so that you can kind of see, but I fill it up quite a bit. I don't know how well you can see that. I may even add just another little bit to it. have them pretty full. Let me do this one here at the front. Closer. I create a lot of slop. So that's about how much I fill mine. So you're just going to continue that till you've filled it up. I used a recipe that called for 5 cups of fruit, 7 cups of sugar, and I usually get 7 to 8 jars of jam out of that. Okay, next thing you're going to do after you've filled up all your jars is you're going to get a clean kitchen rag. You're going to dip it in your boiling water, and you're just going to wipe around the edge here. You shouldn't have too much on it if you've used the funnel like I did. And then just clean along the top. Make sure there's no sticky jam there, because you want that when you put on your lids, you want to make sure that you're getting a good seal with no food chunks messing it up on you. Alrighty, then I take all of these guys, and these are all cleaned. I'm just going to throw them in there. They might as well get sterilized, why not? I have this handy little magnet thing that's very handy for grabbing my lids, and then I can just put that on there like that. And what you're going to do, you're going to seal that on. These lids are these bottle jars are really hot. So you're going to tighten it really good, okay? And then once you've got all of these lids on, I'm going to put them on my tray over here. I'm going to leave them all for about 5 minutes, and then I'm going to flip them upside down. So I'll show you how I do that. Well, you seal them up, and then after about 5 minutes you do that. Okay, so the very last step of our jam making is, if you notice the tops of these jars, there's a little thing here in the middle that's kind of raised up. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to flip all of these jars upside down, and after, I'm going to leave them probably for an hour or so, but I think it takes probably 20-30 minutes, and you'll hear it suck a vacuum, and there'll be a little popping sound, and that little raised spot in the center will actually become, it'll be dipped in concave, I think. I can't remember. Yeah, you guys get the drift. All right, so like that, we just turn them. They're a little hot, so be careful. Don't burn yourself, and enjoy your jam. It's best with fresh homemade bread, of course. We've all had a piece while we were waiting. All right, bon appetit.